Welcome to Chamber Exchange, the show that offers you an opportunity to learn more about businesses in the area. I am Stevie Kearse, the Executive Director of the Rolla Area Chamber of Commerce, and our first guest for the day is Robert Aufner, owner of Auto by Rent. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. It's nice to be here. It's nice to be here.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. We are going to learn a little bit more about your business, and I want to start off by allowing you the opportunity to tell us a little bit more about yourself.
All right, I moved out into the area in the early 70s, went to high school at John F. Hodge. From John F. Hodge, I went into the Marine Corps, spent 6 years in the Marines, and got into the financial end of the car business. And for the past 20 years or more, I've been in the car business and just most aspects of that.
So as the name of your company mentions, Auto by Rent,
Yes.
This is a rent-to-own process. Could you explain really what rent-to-own really means?
Rent-to-own means that when you come in and you rent an automobile from me, at the end of the loan, which is usually a 2-year process, you actually own the vehicle. Now, say you're in that vehicle for 6 months and something changes in your life, you can actually return that vehicle and have no other obligation to that vehicle. Yes.
That's great.
And it's just a different way to buy a vehicle and have a chance to probably get into a little bit better quality used car.
Okay. So if I'm coming into your business, how would I qualify for this opportunity to rent to own?
A very simple process. I'm going to ask who you are, how long you've lived in the area, what do you do for a living, and try and work up an application so it's a vehicle that fits in your budget and something that works for your needs.
Okay. Now you mentioned, like, if I do this process and a couple months into it, maybe even a year into it, something changes, I could work with you. How does that process work?
We actually give you a couple different options. Say a year goes by and there's a child or a marriage or something that your lifestyle changes where the 4-door car really needs to be a minivan.
Okay.
I will look at that vehicle and take that vehicle back in on trade. In most cases, and put you in the type of vehicle that works a little bit better for your needs, and then continue on with the rent-to-own process.
Okay, is that the same like when somebody comes to you originally? Maybe I already have a vehicle. Can I trade that in for a rent-to-own, or do we start from scratch?
You can. In most cases, though, most of my customers come in with a need to find a vehicle that's dependable, reliable, and works with their particular needs at the time.
Okay.
But I do take vehicles in on trade and look at different ways to get you into a vehicle that we have at Auto by Rent.
Okay. So why would somebody come to you to do a rent-to-own versus our conventional vehicle financing that most of us are already used to?
Well, what we're finding is that people like the opportunity. The leasing used to be very popular 20, 30 years ago. It's kind of fallen by the wayside. This is an opportunity to actually get into a vehicle, and if you like the vehicle, feel like this is a perfect vehicle for you, you can actually own it.
Okay.
Say 6 months into it, your needs completely change, and say you want to buy a motorcycle or you want to buy a boat, and you just decide the car doesn't work for your needs anymore, you can turn that vehicle back in, and we're finished with the process.
Okay. Okay, what kind of vehicles do you offer? You mentioned, boats and stuff like that. Do you guys just do vehicles?
Just vehicles. We buy vehicles that we call Timexes.
Okay.
They're made just to last a little bit longer.
Okay.
We want vehicles, obviously, since I do a 2-year lease, we expect the vehicles to hold up. And most of the vehicles, if the regular maintenance is done on those vehicles, they can last a long, long time.
Okay. Is that anything that you guys offer as vehicle maintenance, or is it just strictly the rent-to-own
No,
process?
because I have a full service department at the dealership.
Okay.
And since the vehicles are inspected and tagged before they leave, they've already been gone through, air conditioning's been checked, tires, batteries, things like that.
Okay.
So in most cases, it's just minor, normal maintenance. The cars will hold up just fine.
That's great. That's great. It sounds like you're really passionate about building relationships with your customers. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes, I'd like to think of Auto by Rent as a home of a lifetime customer. Is that our customers, everyone goes through different changes in their life and needs, and we really try and work with those needs and changes in people's lives. So when it comes to buy a vehicle, we like to make it as simple, as uncomplicated as possible.
Which is so great.
Yeah, and it means a lot to me as the owner, and I like to continue on with that thought process, so when people come in and ask a question, they get a straight answer, and we can move on from there.
So before we end anything, I want to make
Sure.
sure that our viewers know exactly where to find you, how to get a hold of you, because I'm sure we've sparked an interest within the community to maybe come and visit you. So could you share with the audience where you're located, maybe a web presence, or if you have a Facebook page, anything like that that they would need to know?
Absolutely. We are located on a corner of 63 and CC in Rolla, next to Intercounty Electric, and pretty much across from Lions Club Park. I have a website, autobuyrentrolla.com, and our phone number is 573-426-5996. And come by even with just general questions, even if it's something you're looking for 6 months down the road, and we'll try and keep you in our database and work with you as your needs change.
That's such a great suggestion. Really appreciate it. This
Thank
has
you very
been a
much.
great opportunity to learn more about your business and your process. So I really appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. We are going to take a real quick break and be back with our next guest.